Cornell team. Yeah? Now, our fashion student is Grace Choi, and Grace participated or practiced fashion on her dolls. I think we all did that, but she just never knew where to stop. And she kept playing with dolls as she grew up and kept on making more and more fashion. And now she studies fashion at Cornell as a junior with 4 internships under her belt. She's been with Nanette Lepore and Prabal Guran. She's never satisfied. I love this. This is a quote, I think, from something she's written. She's never satisfied with the ordinary, and she hopes to use fashion to spark conversation and question the norm. Isn't that intelligent? It's wonderful. That's what we should all be doing, right? Her teammate is Kim Simons from Fort Lee, New Jersey. She's a multi-award-winning cake maker, and she's achieving master level in 3 short years. She never made a cake before 3 years ago. Isn't that great? She's self-taught and has been a professional art instructor for more than 15 years. Kim is not a traditional cake baker. She thinks out of the cake box to make sculpturally beautiful cakes. Kim is mighty strong in the design of realistic natural scenes with animals and vibrant color, whilst pushing the limits of construction. Their outfit is being modeled by Dale Kinney from Cornell University.
Design is about Americana, a collection of artifacts related to history, geography, and the cultural heritage of the United States of America. It's taking every bit of history from the early settlers to the present. It's studying the way colonists adopted Native American dress, exploring changes in apparel during times of peace versus times of war, and visualizing the effects of icons such as Marilyn Monroe and The Who. All-American classic design draws from over 200 years of history that continues to be made day by day. What better time period to portray the tenacity of America than the 60s, a time period colored by counterculture and radical new trends? The swinging 60s were a revolt against conservatism and the social conformity of the 1950s. Fueled by the space age, the 60s were influenced by the desire to move into the modern age or future. Works by artists such as Calder were created with a desire to escape from usual restrictions and to plunge into the unknown. This time period was all about the underdogs rising up and fighting for their rights. It was about moving forwards, making changes towards equality and freedom, and working towards embracing the diversity of the United States. Fashion changed drastically. Hemlines were shortened, layered effects were popular, and exposing throats and arms became common. The weaves and patterns of materials were complex and highly decorative. Prints were key. Most were based on abstract art or geometric forms. I drew from the fitted silhouettes of the 60s. I embraced the A-line silhouette and the more daring, plunging necklines of evening wear. I created a dress with a simple shape that was sleeveless and above the knees. It was fitted to the body, and I added a peplum to the waist so that it would have a layered look reminiscent of the times. The peplum stands away from the body, mimicking the fuller skirts of the 60s. As 60s fashion embraced abstract prints, print inspiration was ultimately drawn from American painter Jackson Pollock. His creations were a source of much confusion and admiration from his peers and critics at the time.
He painted as if he was dancing, throwing his energy into flicking, dipping, splattering paint throughout all his canvases. Just as his paintings had a life of their own, we wanted to create a dress that would move and become an art piece instead of just a body covering. We decided to use one of his paintings as inspiration for our print. I printed this image using PhotoFrost icing sheets and attached the image onto Choco-Pan black gum paste to create our disc just as Pollock's works, full of full movement. The discs of the garment would sway back and forth while being worn. Using SugarVeil and Get Sassie products, I added paint splatters to the discs with a free-flowing method. We also use cocoa berry fondant for the lower half of the dress, as well as the shoes, to create the look of cracking paint.
The paint splatters and curvilinear lines ultimately led to design ideas for accessories and shoes. They all kept with the theme of curves and dots so that the piece in its entirety looked as if it was a giant Pollock painting come to life. The dress was created by pattern making, using a size 8 skirt and bodice slopers, and altered according to the style lines I wished to incorporate. I created and fitted many muslins before attaining the perfect fit. Afterwards, I worked on finishings by including facings on the center back seam, arm size, and neckline. I added a lining for the skirt and an invisible zipper that ran nearly all the way down to the back to make it easier to enter the gown without risking breaking any of the cake product. The peplum was also made through the skirt sloper. However, it needed to be backed in order to keep its stiff shape. I used 2 layers of buckram and then lined it, adding in a side zipper. The hem was hand sewn and the facings were tacked down.
Thank you for watching.
I'm Grace Choi from Cornell University.
I'm Kim Simons, and I'm from Fort Lee, New Jersey. My business is Cakes by Kim Simons. We are Team Cornell.
So this is Kim and Grace. And their beautiful model. Here she comes.
I also want to know about the shoes. What are the ingredients?
Thanks, right? The shoes are actually fondant, and we kind of rolled it really, really thin and used piping gel and ripped it in a fashion to give that crackle paint look. And then the top half is the same technique, but then we took those flowers, crystallized flowers, and we crushed them up and like kind of painted some piping gel and put it where we wanted it to flow. And the green part is SugarVeil piped on.
And are all of those little scales just held on by one thread?
No, I actually sewed every single one on separately in case one broke, we could replace it.
Now, each individual scale, is that fondant?
It's actually gum paste covered with the PhotoFrost print, and then on top of that, the texture is the SugarVeil, colored SugarVeil.
So within each individual coin, you're working with 3 products and 3 different layers?
Yeah.
A little bit more information on the skirt and coloring there.
This section is all done the same, except like.
So basically, the top and then the underskirt are one piece, and then this part is a peplum that we attached at the end. And they were sewn basically the same way after we created the base, the muslin dress, and then the muslin peplum. Then we covered it with cocoa powder, and then sewed on the pieces individually.
How was the headpiece made?
The headpiece is gum paste first, like the basic structure is gum paste. Then it has, I hand rolled out of the Get Sassie products, I hand rolled every bead and I kind of glued them on with the gun. And then it has SugarVeil within the spaces as well. And then we crushed up the flowers and with the piping gel, put the color like the purple and the yellow in there as well. The necklace is similar to the same kind of style we did with the headpiece.
Can I see the back one more time, please? Now, essentially, it makes one garment, but it's composed of 2 individual pieces.
Yes. Yes.
So, from a construction perspective, you had to not only sew the dress, you also had to sew the jacket.
Yes.
Right?
Well, this piece.
Right. So
and the shoe pieces were hand sewn as well.
The only critique I have is that she needs some earrings that matches all of the rest of the accessories that she's done. I mean, yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.